Matt Hooker here. Today we're going to go over the 5 concepts of peekaboo head movement. Okay? Peekaboo head movement. The head movement in peekaboo is your primary defense to defending your opponent's punches, okay? I'm not blocking, I'm not parrying, okay? I'm moving my head trying to evade punches. Why is that? Because I'm pressuring my opponent, okay? I'm pressuring, I'm moving into my opponent. And I have to be elusive while moving in, because if I walk straight in and I'm taking hard shots, I'm gonna get hurt, knocked out, or I'm gonna be scared to attack my opponent. Okay, peekaboo is an aggressive system. It's an offensive system. It's like offensively defensive system. Okay, or what Jay Bright called it in one of his interviews, one of Tyson's former Catskills trainers, is it's elusive aggression. Peekaboo is elusive aggression. All right, I'm taking the fight to my opponent. I'm walking my opponent down. I'm trying to kick his butt. Okay, I'm not trying to box his ears off. I'm trying to smash his face. Okay, so the first head movement concept is slipping. Okay, slipping. What do I slip? The primary punches that I slip is the straights. So the first concept is you're gonna slip the straight. So when Daniel's in front of me, he's in a stance, remember? He only has 2 straight punches, the jab and the cross. So when he throws that jab, I can slip outside the jab. He throws the jab, I can slip inside. Remember, your slips are multi-dimensional. So there's different levels of the slip. So when he throws that jab, I can slip just on the inside of it. He throws the jab, I can lower the slip. Okay? And if he throws, let's say he throws a hook to my head, I can go really low to let that hook go over my head. So a good example of this with slipping the straight punches is if he threw a jab cross, in peekaboo, I don't do this, slip, slip. It's too risky because if I slip outside the jab, I'm gonna cross that center line and potentially get hit by that number 2 of that cross. So what do I do in peekaboo? If he throws a jab cross, I'm gonna do a medium slip and slip both of them at the same time. So when he throws the jab cross quick, boom, I'm gonna slip both of them, okay? So, concept number 1 for head movement is you're gonna slip outside or inside the straight punch. Okay, concept number 2 is when he throws the hooks, I'm gonna roll or weave the hooks. Okay, so if he throws that lead hook, I'm gonna roll it or do a bob and weave. He throws that one, I'm gonna roll it. Okay, so when he throws those hooks, okay, I'm gonna weave the hooks. So concept number 1 is I'm slipping the straights. Concept number 2, I'm gonna weave the hooks. So this leads into concept, well, real quick, let me backpedal. Another movement you can do on the straights and the hooks is the bob or the duck. He throws that jab, I can duck. Throws the cross, I can duck. He throws the hook, I can duck. So I can slip, weave, and duck, all the above. Okay, when it comes to uppercuts, if he throws that right uppercut, I can slip on the outside of that uppercut. He throws a left uppercut, I can slip on the outside. You can slip on the inside, but a lot of times because of the angle of the uppercut, they can follow you and hit you on that inside slip. So you want to slip outside of the uppercuts. Okay, concept number 3. Okay, concept number 3 is using your head movement in combination. Okay, usually in peekaboo, I don't move my head one and done. Okay, the only time I move my head once is that I counterpunch. For instance, he throws that jab cross at me and I slip and then I hook. See, I move my head once. But a lot of times what happens is if my opponent starts punching, I'm not gonna worry about trying to evade each punch. I'm just gonna start moving my head, making myself hard to hit. Kind of like when you go against a double in bag or a cobra reflex bag, it's hard to hit because it's moving. If you keep your head moving in combination, you can stay in the middle longer with your opponent. But if you keep getting hit, you're gonna have to back out or you're just gonna get beat up. Okay, so just a quick review. You're gonna slip, he throws a straight punch, you're gonna slip either side or duck it, slip the straights. He throws a hook, you're gonna weave the round, okay, or the hook, either side. Okay, concept number 3 is, let's say you just start throwing light combinations at me. I'm just going to keep moving. I'm moving my head in combination. I'm not waiting for them. I'm going to move my head in combination. Okay, I do that a lot if someone puts me against the ropes. Like I'm against the ropes and they start unloading combination, I'm going to start moving my head in combination. A good example of this is when Mike Tyson knocked out Reggie Gross. When Gross just started unloading on him. Probably the greatest Mike Tyson knockout ever. And Tyson's just moving his head in combination, avoiding the punches. And then out of that, he threw that left hook and knocked him down. And then he finished them all. Okay? So, weave, slip the straight, weave the round. Okay? Use your head movement in combination. Head movement concept number 4 is, once you learn how to move your head and slip the straights, weave the rounds, you got to use your footwork in conjunction with your head movement to get to the inside. Because my ultimate goal is to get close to my opponent and then get to the side where I can hit him and he can't hit me. So what I'm going to do is you're going to start doing those drills where you're moving forward. And you're just going to take those little steps in to work your way in. Okay, so when we're out here, okay, he's not going to do anything. I'm going to see how far I am. I'm going to use those. I'm going to slip my way in. Slip. And then I can get to the side. Okay, I'll demonstrate it again. What I'm doing is, if I slip to this side, I can take a step with my left. So if you slip left, step left. If you slip right, you take a little step with your right. And then you speed it up, moving your head side to side. So if I'm out, you guys see Tyson do those drills with Kevin Rooney. He's firing those jabs, but backing up. And he's following them with his head movement and his footwork. Okay, all that drill does is teaching the peekaboo fighter to go from the outside and to get on the inside. Trying to get past that long reach, get past the incoming punches, to get on the inside, then get to the side to open up with your fast combinations. So I get it to slip. We're here. I'm just going to take little steps in. I'm going to stay crouched and low. Let me do it in front of the camera. I'm going to step, 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 step. Okay? Same thing you can do with your bobbing and weaving. So when I'm out here, I step. If I weave left, I step left. If I weave right, I take a little step out, and I'm moving my way in. Okay? That's why a lot of times you see Tyson end up in a southpaw stance. It's not like he intentionally got in and then intentionally switched to southpaw. No, it's those outside angles that he's cutting. Because if I weave here and weave here, I'm in a southpaw stance. And I can set it up. Okay? A lot of times you see the peekaboo fighter will get that squared off stance on the inside. Okay? That way you can rip punches with both angles. Okay? Normally I try to stay in my stance more. I don't usually use the squared off stance. Okay? But a lot of times you just, because you're always trying to get in quickly. And you just end up in that position. Okay? So again, I'm going to weave my way in. Get to one side. Once I get close enough, I want to get my head off to one side or the other. Or I can then spring to the side. Boom, boom, boom. Or I can twist and fire my counter punches. Okay? So that is inner and in with my head movement. You know, if he's throwing those long jabs out here, I can stay on the outside and just move my head and jab. I can stay on the outside. Maybe he's not ready for me to go in yet. Maybe he's still hitting hard. Okay? But there's going to be a time, sooner rather than later, that when he's throwing those jabs at me, I'm going to work my way on the inside to fire my close quarter combinations. Okay? All right. So, that was number 4. Head movement concept number 5 is the most important one of all. Okay? It's the heartbeat of peekaboo-boxing, and that is, after your last punch, you want to move your head. Move your head. I can't tell you how many times when I'm using peekaboo-boxing style when sparring, that when I'm focusing on moving my head after my last punch, I'll attack my opponent, and then I start moving my head, and all of a sudden these punches I'll just evade these punches I didn't even see coming. Because remember, the most dangerous punch is the punch you can't see or don't see. That's where most knockouts hurt. You know, all the times I've been hit the hardest is the punch I didn't see. Okay, so the concept is if I throw one punch, I move my head 2 to 3 times. It doesn't happen all the time. All right, if he's in the stance and I throw a jab and I move my head once and he's still moving, I don't have to move it 3 times. All right. In the beginning, yes. When you're drilling peekaboo in the beginning, but after you put the rounds and rounds of sparring in, you'll know when and when not you need to move your head. You want to trim off some of the fat, because if you're just constantly moving your head, you're going to be dead before 3 rounds. You're going to be out of gas. It's just too exhausting. So you got to make your head movement more fuel efficient, the better you get with it. Okay, so quick example. You know, I throw a combination, he shields up, I throw a combination, I move my head 2 to 3 times after my punch. Okay, usually if I end on a hook punch, I'll bob and weave twice. Okay, bob and weave twice. Doesn't matter, each side. Boom, bob and weave twice. If I throw a straight punch, I usually slip after it. Kind of the same concept of slip the straight and weave the round. Okay, it's in reverse. So, if I throw a combination in on a hook, I'm going to move my head twice with bobbing and weaving. This is kind of a standard starting point for you. If I throw straight punches, I'm going to start slipping 2 to 3 times after my last punch. So when you make the decision of to end the combination with that last punch, or your opponent makes that decision, maybe he moves and you can't punch anymore, I'm going to move my head. Okay? So, now, this is something I want to talk about. What head movement, how you should move your head based off what punch you end with. For instance, if I throw the number 7, which is the jab in peekaboo, all right, if I step in, throw the number 7, most likely I'm going to slip to the outside of my jab. Why? Here's why. Because the most common counter punch to the jab in Western boxing is the right hand. Okay? Because a lot of times that's why they call it the cross. If I throw that jab here, now he throws that right hand right back at me. Okay? So I'm just going to predict he's going to throw that. I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to be prepared. So when I step in and throw the 7, I'm going to slip. Whether he throws it or not, I don't care. I'm moving my head. Okay? So when I end with the cross, okay, what I don't do, I usually go hit with the cross, and there's 2 ways you can do the cross. Okay? I can slip here, or I can weave under. What I'm not doing is this. If I end with the cross, I'm not slipping this way. You can, because he can fire the jab. But most likely, the 2 counter punches he's going to throw after my cross is going to be his cross or left hook. Okay, the left hook is usually what they try to go around the cross with. So the arch nemesis of the jab is the right hand, the cross. The arch nemesis of the cross is usually the left hook. So when I throw that jab cross and end on the cross, I can weave my head twice. Or what I do is, I do this a lot in sparring, is I throw that cross and I slip this way. Because if he throws the cross after I cross, I'm outside it. If he throws the hook after my cross, I'm outside it. Okay? So, now the hook is different. After the hook punch, I'm going to move, bob and weave, right? So when he shields up, if I step in with the 1 on the left hook, if it lands, I like to weave this way, under the left hook. Okay? If I miss, let's say he ducks it, I like to weave this way because of momentum. If you're going to stand up, if I hit something, I can weave this way and come under this way, or I can go this way. I got 2 options. But if I miss, usually because of the momentum, he ducks it, my momentum's going this way, I'm not going to stop it and weave this way. I'm going to here and weave back into him. So if I miss that left hook, the 1 to the head, he ducks it, I'm going to weave back into him and start firing. Okay? And the same thing can be applied to the number 2, the right hook. Okay? If I miss the right hook, I can weave right back into him and keep firing. All right? If I hit him with the right hook, that's when I can weave this way and then go to the liver. Okay? So, body shots. Body shots. A lot of times, body shots you can do either way. Okay? So if I throw that number 5 to the liver, I can slip out. Move my head by slipping. Or I can boom and weave. Because if I throw that body hook and then he launches the left hook, I can weave under it and counterpunch. Okay, so body shots, you can kind of do both. Same thing with uppercuts. If I throw that left uppercut here, I can slip. Just move your head. It really doesn't matter as long as you're trying to be elusive. Okay, now you can do your head movement in combination. What I mean by you can do slip to roll, roll to slip. So let's say I come up with jab, cross, hook, boom, boom, boom. I can slip and roll. Or if I come in jab, cross, slip and roll. So you can do the slip and roll combination. Okay? Or I can do the duck. I can step boom, boom, and duck. Okay? The duck is dangerous though. Use the duck sparingly. Why? Because when you duck, you stay on the center line. So if I duck and he throws that right uppercut, I'm usually right there. Okay? So the slip is superior to the duck because of its outside position. I'm getting to a position where I can hit him and he can't hit me. Also, when I slip compared to the duck, look at my opposite hand is preloaded, which means I'm gonna have more body weight and power into my punch. But it doesn't mean I can't slip here and then throw a hook like that to be deceptive. You absolutely can. I can roll here and come up with a right hook to change it up. It just ain't gonna have the full power. So if I roll here and then come up with the hook, it ain't gonna have the full body weight as if I roll this way into the number 2. Now let's do a quick review of all 5 Peekaboo-boxing head movement concepts. The reason why I call it a concept, because it's not set in stone. If I tell you you have to move this way, you can probably move the other way too. Okay, so concept number 1, when you throw straight punches, I'm gonna slip the straight. I can also duck it, but I prefer to slip it. All right, concept number 2, if he throws a hook, I'm gonna weave the hook either side. Okay, concept number 3 is I'm gonna move my head in combination, mixing up, breaking up the rhythm, not trying to do the same movement every time. Okay, concept number 4 is I'm gonna use my footwork to use my head movement to enter in, taking those little steps. Like I'm slipping, taking those little steps to get on the inside. And then I can spring to the side or do a twist. Okay? Or stay in the middle but get my head offline. Okay? And then concept number 5, okay, is I'm gonna move my head after my last punch. So if I throw a combination, boom, I'm gonna move my head. Okay? If I throw a combination and he ducks my hook, I'm gonna move my head, even though I can fire. So that is it. I hope you learned something. Understand Peekaboo boxing a little bit more. Have a good day.